Good morning, Stitchy friends. My name is Joanne and I am the Eclectic Stitcher. Today is January 15th, 2024. It is actually Martin Luther King Day. And because of that, I am off for work today and able to record and come to you this morning. So maybe afternoon for you, maybe evening, depending when you're watching this. But welcome and thank you for watching me. This FlossTube channel is about cross stitching. Everything I show here is cross stitching related. I don't really do any other crafts, not yet, but primarily it's going to be about cross stitching. So if this is your first time watching, welcome and thank you for taking the time to view my channel and my videos. If you are a returning viewer, hey, welcome back. Thank you. Thank you all for your support, your continued communication. I enjoy communicating with you in comments and emails and sometimes in social media. So thank you for continuing to come back and watch my videos. Today is going to be a regular FlossTube video. If you have not noticed, I did upload 2 videos yesterday. They are FlossTube extras or whip parades. So I did record a whip parade. It's one of those things that was really encouraged for me to do. There's 2 parts to the videos, but it's not because I have hundreds of whips. It's because I accidentally stopped video 1 during my recording. And because I don't edit and I don't know how to put them together, there's 2 parts. So part 1 is like 20 minutes and then part 2 is like 50 minutes. So although it's about an hour and a half watch, it's not a lot. I don't have hundreds of whips. And we'll go into that. So today's video, I want to talk about some stats, hauls, retreats that I will be attending, and then basically finish off with some of the plans and groups that I participate in. For stitching and you know what I think I'm going to stick with for the year. So let's get started. Let's talk about stats. And I do have my notes because if I don't have notes, I won't remember everything. So when I started my video a year ago, I really wasn't sure what the format was. I mean, there really isn't a format. I think you just kind of make your own thing. But I didn't provide any stats then because I was still trying to gather things together and trying to figure out how this was going to go about. So my stats will include a little bit of 2023 as far as what I came into 2023, which I should have done this back then, but I didn't. So I'm doing it now. So in 2023, on January 1st of 2023, I had 22 whips in my stash. Not bad. I don't have a lot of whips. I don't plan on having a lot of whips. However, by the end of the year, I will probably have a lot of whips just because, you know, some of these groups that I attend, these Zoom groups, you have a lot of ladies that, you know, a lot of stitchers that are very challenging, not challenging, that's not the word. They're enablers, but they like a good challenge. And there was a lot of conversation in one of the Zoom meetings that I attended, or Zoom groups I attended recently, about how many whips we had. And you know, you have people that have over 200 whips. Shalene, 240 something whips. That's a lot. There was somebody else that had 280 something. And then you have people that said, okay, well, fine. Well, then I'm going to have 500 stitches, you know. Yeah, I think OG Stitcher. Sorry, I'm having a brain fog. But so when I sat there and listened to these ladies talk about all these whips they have, I'm like, I gotta catch up. I gotta catch up to these ladies. Like, they're leaving me behind. So will I start a lot of projects? Probably. And I think that the more I attend these Zoom meetings and they keep talking about, I'm telling you, one of the girls, they're going at it. So we'll see what happens this year. So 22 whips into 2023. In 2023, I finished 10 whips. Um, Three of those whips were from the 22, or yes, from the 22 whips that I carried on to 2023. Seven of those 10 whips were whips that, or finishes, I'm sorry. Seven of those finishes were finishes that or charts that I started and finished in 2023, which you can also, you hear the word SAF, SAF, starts and finish. So I'm sure some of those were smaller whips, but I did finish 10 total in 2023. In 2023, I started 18 projects, which when I came into 2024, I came in with 37 whips. So my whip stash grew a little bit, not a whole lot. I haven't gotten to 100 yet, not even close, but I have 37 whips. And in 2024, I've started one project, which was my long dog samplers, dog and wolf, which if you watch the last, I don't know which one of the two parts of the Whip Warriors in, or Whip Warriors, Whip Parades is in, but I did show it there. And then I also started some petites. So I'm going to talk about that while I have this out. So Crafty Framers is my local LNS. They're about 2 hours north of me. So that's really my local, my nearest LNS that I have. And when I was there a couple of weeks ago, I, no, when I was there back in December, excuse me. Sorry about that. You ever get distracted? So in front of me, behind my laptop, is my front room window. And so there's traffic coming and going all the time. Um, which is fine. That doesn't distract me. What distracts me is when cars stop in front of my window, in front of my house, my apartment. And I'm like, okay, who are you and why are you here? But they were just talking to somebody walking on the sidewalk. So anyways, I'm sorry. I just got distracted. So, okay, back to where I was. So, Crafted Framers. So, back in December, I was in Crafted Framers and I saw that Peggy, who's the store owner, she had a cube sitting on the register table. And it was the cutest little cube. I'm like, oh, what is this? And she says, oh, that's for our class in January. I said, well, what class? And she said, well, we're going to have a class where we're going to teach you how to turn cross stitch projects into cubes. And I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. Like I don't really finish a whole lot of projects. I don't know how to do that. And one of the things that they do is they use what they called wrap stitching or wrap stitching. And so, which is really nice. When I'm looking at this cube, how they stitch the pieces together, it's really nice and neat, and I like it. So I thought, hey, I want to join. So I paid for the class, and then I thought, crap, like, how am I going to get 4 pieces stitched before January 20th, which, by the way, is this coming Saturday? So the last couple of weeks, when January started, I decided, listen, I really need to get these done. Peggy says you don't have to finish all 4 of them. If you just finish 2 pieces, you'll learn how to stitch them together and then you can take it home and finish it. But I'm an overachiever sometimes. And then I put all my other plans on hold just so that I can stitch these pieces. And what they're doing is that they're using Little House Needleworks Petites. And Little House Needleworks has a lot of, they have seasonal petites and they have different things. I decided to go with the Americana Petites. I am very much of an Americana stitcher. I don't know why. I just like anything that's patriotic. I like. So I purchased this. I had a gift card to 1 to 3 stitch that I was gifted for Christmas. Thank you. You know who you are. And so I purchased this with my gift card. And so I've been really stitching on this. So last night I finished one, and I'm going to show you. I didn't bring my poster board. Okay. So anyway, so last night I finished one. Here. I finished this one. It's really cute. They're really simple. They're quick stitch. I think this one I started last Wednesday or Thursday, and I worked a little bit over the weekend, so it's a quick stitch. And I'm stitching this. Well, I thought this piece of fabric, so it's got a label on it. This was given to me. Has a label on it that says 28 count, even weave. It's the color mushroom. But as I was stitching this, I thought, man, this really looks really big. I did stitch this 2/2. But when I count the holes, because I took out my tape measure and I'm counting the holes, and I'm like, sometimes I read 21, sometimes I read 22. So I don't know. I like it. I mean, I went on with it, but it was kind of weird, 28-piece fabric. But it's nice. I think it worked well for that. The next piece, now this one I will finish today. These next two I will finish today. Actually, after I finish this video, I'm going to get to stitching. The only reason this hasn't been done is because I ran out of that green and I had to get some. So I really only have a couple more pieces here and this one will be done. So there's that one there. And the same thing with this one. I didn't finish it because underneath that house, if you look at that house, there's grass, like green, and then the border, there's green. Same green color. So I ran out, but I at least finished the main parts. So I have 3 pieces left. I have to start this one here. And there's a lot of stitching in there. You know, those houses, they're pretty big when it comes to stitching. So I am hoping that I will have them all done. Oh my goodness, what is going on with my hair? It keeps poofing up. I hope to have all of these done by Saturday. That is my goal. Now, I know a cube has 6 sides. There are going to be 2 other sides to it, but I'm going to have to call Miss Peggy because I don't know I know what the 2 sides are going to be, but I won't have them stitched. But they don't expect us to finish our cubes in the class. I think as long as we get a couple pieces in there and we learn how to do that, then we can take it home and finish it. And I'm okay with that. But I wanted to at least get my 4 sides done. So that's that. So as far as starts, just the long dog and then those 3s. I have not worked on any other whips this month. I miss them, but until this week is over and the class is over, I was looking at the calendar and I thought, man, I really need to get caught up with the acrostics and the challenges. And I says, well, I'll have a week and 3 days to do that. And the nice thing about it, so a little bit of personal life. I've been working for a workforce company here in Florida for 15 years. And I think I've built my career with this company. It's great. I mean, I love working here. But after 15 years, I feel like it's time to move on. And so I decided to do that. You know, in this company, I've done everything. I mean, there's nothing that I can't do. I mean, I was a supervisor for 3 years. I've been a career specialist. I've worked with grants and programs, you know. I mean, there's really no way for me to go up. I don't want to be a supervisor again. In order for me to move up, I would have to be in supervisor, administrator. I don't want that. I like working with people, the customers. I like working with the public. So I got a job offer at our college here in our county, and so I'm excited to start that. So I'm going to start that job February 1st, and so my last day with this company is going to be the 26th because I wanted to give myself 3 days to kind of just regroup myself, get things ready for this new job. So as I'm looking at the calendar, I'm thinking in those 3 days before I start this new job, I can get a lot of stitching done. Um, So that'll be nice. So I think I'll be able to at least get my stitches in for Whip Warriors and get some of my acrostics done. Will I be able to get them all done? Probably not, but I think I'll get quite a bit of things done. So I've missed working on my whips, but sometimes life takes a turn. You join these classes and it's like, ooh, I got to do this. So, and that's what I wanted to do, you know. So, anyways, so that's my stats. Um, since I was talking about crafty framers, um, they had a fast retreat, which I'm sorry, I don't remember what fast stands for. It's like friends all stitching together, I think. So they put on these retreats. It's a 1 day retreat in Largo, and so they had one last weekend. Was on the 6th. That weekend I got sick and I didn't get to go. Oh, I was so bummed. Because those are, they're 1 day retreats. You get together for a few hours and you get to shop, you get to stitch with other people, stitchers. They have raffles, giveaways, things like that. So I really missed out on that. But that's okay because she's going to have another fast retreat and April the 13th. And I called her Saturday and I said, please put me on the list. I will, because they're filling up. They only accept 75 people and they're already halfway full. So I says, I'm going to come Saturday for the class. Pencil me in. I will have the money for that. And then, the other thing that they're doing is they do what they call a bee retreat, BEE. They do that in July, the weekend of July 4th. And so that's a 3 day weekend retreat. And so I'm going to participate on that as well, which will be nice. I mean, for the price, it covers your lodging, the retreat, your food. So it's great. So I do try to stay as busy as I can. I like that Camille, who is one of my stitchy friends on Zoom, she lives in that area, and so it's really nice to be able to connect with her and be able to go to the Saturday sit and stitch at the Crafty Framers. So I've kind of made Crafty Framers my home, LNS. I wish I can go there more often. I told Peggy if I can just be there once a month, I'm doing great. When I was talking to Peggy on Saturday, she says, eventually we're going to have to get you to move up here closer to us. I thought, no, I don't think so. That is a big, busy area. I am a little hometown girl. I don't need to be in the busy town. I'm not a city girl. So I'm good just driving there. I don't mind taking 2 hour drive there, meeting with friends for a few hours and coming home. I'm good with that. So yeah, so you'll hear me talk about Crafty Framers because I just feel like I made a home with the shop. I've taken Camille in and we get to talk and all that. So it's been great. I love it. I just love that connection that I was able to make through these Zoom groups. Let's talk about haul. So like I said, I was at Crafty Framers in December. And my main goal for going to Crafty Framers was to get some fabric. Wanted to get some fabrics to stitch on some of these charts that I have. So the first one, so I attended the Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit, which is put on by Acorns and Threads in Oregon. And so they have their PNWSS, their Pacific Northwest Summit in September. So I attended their online retreat this last September. And one of the charts that we got or kits was this by Satsuma Street, which is called Turning Leaves. Now this came fully kitted with the Cosmo. So this has Cosmo threads, which those are nice. I've used these before, not a whole lot. I've used them once before. And it came with the linen. Now, I'm not a linen stitcher, so I gifted that to one of my Zoom friends. But I needed to get a fabric that I can use for this. So when I went to Crafty Framers, I took that chart with me, and thank you, Camille, because Camille really helped me pick something out that I can use for that. And so we were going through all the fabrics and just kind of looking, and yeah, she talked me into this one. So I ended up getting this piece of fabric. I got a piece. It's just nice variegated fabric. This is an 18 count Ada, and the color is Tombstone. So I thought this was a pretty fabric. I don't know, that's kind of not coming out. It's more like a mustardy looking color. I don't know. You know, cameras are horrible because it looks brown, but it's a really mustardy color. It's really nice. Um, so I was able to buy this for that project. And it is my goal to add that to my 500 starts for the year. I really want to catch up to those girls. Nobody has 500 stitches, but they were combining OG Stitcher. I think it's OG Stitcher. She said, well, Shalene's doing 248 and so is doing 280. Well, you know, that's like 537. So no, I'm not doing 500 stitches or starts, but these will be one of my starts this year. So I've got that. And then I bought one of the series that I bought a couple months ago off Crafty Framers. This is Jardin Privé, the seasonal petite seasonals. So there's 4. There's autumn, winter, summer, and spring. So I bought these because Peggy from Crafty Framers has these stitched up, and she has them finished really pretty. And I'm sorry, I should have had this ready. If I knew how to edit, I can add pictures. But the last time I was at Crafted Framers, I took a picture of her finish because I loved how she has this displayed at her store. So she finished it kind of like in an accordion type piece, stand up, and I thought that was really pretty. So that is my goal to finish. So I want to start those. Those are really pretty. So I told her when I bought the fabric, I said, if I finish all of these, would you finish it for me in that manner? And she said yes. So I'm looking forward to that. I told her it'll probably take me a year or two to finish them, but that's okay. Like I said, I want to make that connection and have somebody to do it, be able to finish things and help me with that. But I just bought this is a 25 count white Lugana. So she did hers on the 25 count Lugana, so that's what I decided to do. There's nothing special to this, just a white piece of so that's what she used to stitch her pieces. So I decided I would do the same. So I bought that piece for those. And then I just bought 2 extra pieces just to have in my stash. This one's a 25 count Lugana potato. And I understand that this is Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher's favorite. Man, that lighting does not do me any good. But so this is potato, which is just a nice creamish fabric. It does have some little specks, but it's just a nice little cream fabric. And then I've got this, and then as I was looking through the fabrics, I found this 25 count leaf pile Lugana. I don't have anything planned for this. I just wanted some neutrals. This is a neutral, but there is some variegation. I don't know if you can see it. It's like like a pinkish type color. Can't really see it. So there is a little bit of color in that. Like I said, I don't have any plans for either of these two fabrics, but I did want, to buy just a couple neutral pieces just so that I can have them here. And then another thing that Camille's talked to me about is Sullivan's floss. So I had never really, I know like in just cross stitch, there's a lot of the pieces in the just cross stitch have Sullivan threads, and I've seen it, wasn't sure what that is. So Camille and I were talking about it the last time we were at Crafty Framers, and she says, that Peggy, she'll put together these little kits with Sullivan's. And so I bought this kit. It's a hands-on design. Again, it's a Americana. It's a 4th of July bird by Hands On Design. And the kit came with all the Sullivan floss. And then I just got a 16 count fabric that went with it. And so I haven't started this, and I think the reason I haven't started is because, one, I'm trying to do these other petites, but two, I just haven't really put it in my rotation or my plan. So, and I wanted to show it before I started. I wanted to show it. So that's another kit. That's a kit that I bought at Crafty Framers. And then lastly that I bought from there was this tacky bill. So I have a couple Mill Hill kits. I haven't started them. I started to start one, and then I don't know that I know what I was doing. But this is just a tacky bill. It's got two-sided sticky stuff, and so this is used for beads. And so I just wanted to buy it. I thought this would be great. I can have that in there to help me with the beads. I use these little sticky pads all the time for my stitching, but these has like little grooves in there, and so I thought, if I use this, I don't know if those grooves are going to get in the way. So, because I could have very well used this. I'm very resourceful when it comes to things, but I just thought this was a cute little box, and I thought I can keep this in my Mill Hill kits. But I don't know. I haven't started the Mill Hill kit because I'm not sure I understand how to do that. So, but that's another conversation for later. So that's all my haul. That's all my haul. I do have a little bit of, I have one Happy Meal. So the Bougie Stitchers, I don't know if you guys watch the Bougie Stitchers. If you're not watching them, you need to watch them. They're great. They're sisters. They have a FlossTube channel, and they were giving a giveaway about a month or so ago, and I happened to win, and I was like, oh my gosh. It was so nice to hear them say my name. So I won this Gingerbread's Cottage. It's an ornament collection, and this is designed by Annie Turner, who is the Proper Stitcher. I love watching Annie, the Proper Stitcher. She just started designing recently, and so this is one of her charts. So I won that chart, and I won Gingerbread's Cottage. Yes, so that's that one, and then this other part. And those are really cute. And so those were my two hauls, but it was really nice because they sent me the Bougie Stitchers needle minder, and then a little note inside. So thank you, ladies. That was great. I love that. So that was my haul. And those were my Happy Meal. All right. So let's talk about plans. So the last couple of weeks, I've been really looking at all the groups that I'm part of on Facebook. And when I start looking at the challenges and the events that they're putting together, sometimes I get overwhelmed And so there's been a couple groups that I dropped out of just because, you know what, I'm doing this with this group. I don't need to add that to the group. Um, so I did end up dropping out of some groups, but I did stay in some groups. So now, first, I want to show you my planner. So last summer, I decided, now if you watched my Whip Parade videos, I showed you my stitching planning sheet. So each of my whips, okay, I am back. Sorry about that. I think I was starting to talk about my planner. So I was saying that I created a sheet when I started stitching to keep track of what I stitched, when I started, just those details that we stitchers like to keep track of. So I have that for each of my whips, and I've been doing that since day one when I started stitching back in 2021. And I see a lot of stitchers out there that use planners, and so planner was not my thing. But then last summer I thought, you know what, because I wanted to start counting stitches and start really getting involved with more um, challenges and groups. So last summer I started keeping a track of things that I was doing. And it was just a basic planner, really wasn't anything, I just got this basic planner. And then the only thing that I would do is that I would keep track of, what I stitched that day. This one only went, I just kept track of, what I did that day, and that was it. Well, this year I wanted it to be a little bit more detailed and do something more. So I went to one day last in December. I was just kind of going through Staples, and I found this planner. I don't even know what kind of planner this is. I threw the thing. Oh, it's just a life planner. It's just a life planner that I found. It says they're Erin Quandran. But I like this because, one, it has your monthly. And here's another thing. I'm not a sticker person, and I know a lot of people like putting stickers, but I did buy some stickers, and I started decking out my monthly planner. But so it has the monthly planner. So on here, on my monthlies, I just keep track of events. So I just put the events there. And then when you flip through, there's just a blank page where I keep notes of things. And then the one thing that I do, Shalene, she has a Zoom group, and she does monthly designer focus and theme focus. So I've written those down. I've written those down there so that I know what it is. And then my whip code, and then I keep track of what my whip code is for the month. So I put those there. Then there's a page here. I'm not really sure how to use this page. I haven't really figured that out. But what I liked about this is the layout. So there's the daily layout. And so I've kind of taken this in more like a journal. I did really good this last week. Look at all that journal writing. So I not only I keep track of my stitching, but I'll put things like, today was crafts and books Zoom, and then I stitch on blah, 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 blah. Or if I didn't stitch, I didn't stitch. I do a lot of lunch stitching. Sometimes I don't stitch. Like this day, no lunch stitching. I put a sad face because I didn't get to stitch at lunch. So I kind of use it as a journal thing, if I record it. And so there's there's three spots to put different things, and I kind of just figure, well, this is what I do at lunch, but I don't really have it all planned out. I just journal. And so at the end of the day, I just kind of put what I did for that day. And like I said, I started using stickers. March has a lot of stickers, and well, not a whole lot, a few here and there. I use a pencil just because, you change plans all the time. So I use the pencil so that I can erase. So every month is laid out the same way, and then there's a section in the notes on the back, and then I keep track of my soon groups and the IDs and things like that here. Um, so I've got the different groups that I'm part of. I have their IDs and their passwords, so I keep all that back here. I don't want to show it. So it's just an easy, these books are not cheap, you guys. Like when I went to the register and he scanned it and it was like 40 something dollars, I was like, but you know what? It's gonna work out for me. I like it. Excuse me. So far, I like it. And it just, kind of gives more. Like I said, only thing I put on there is what I stitched on, and I'll just put the title of the chart. Details are in my separate sheets that I use. Let me grab one real quick. Okay, so here's one for example. So I just used the sleeves, those binder sleeves. I just taped the back. On one side, I have the chart, and then on the other side, I have this sheet that I created, which has all the details that I need to have. All this writing, sometimes if I restart, like this one here, I restarted it. So I made a note that I restarted it, and I restarted it because I changed the fabric. So I put that information there. And then I put the name, the picture of the chart there in the front. Because eventually, when I'm done with projects, I'll either give it away, I'll share it, or, I don't keep the charts. Now, this one was signed by Holly, who's the Stitchy Pros. She signed it a piece of it, so I'll probably keep that sheet that she signed for me, but other than that, I'll share the project. But so those are my Stitchy project cheat sheets. So all of my projects are stored like this as far as the charts and the info sheets so that I know. So on my planner, all I have is just I stitch on so and so today. And then I will put in how many stitches I stitched that week. Yes, I do keep track of stitches. I use Pattern Keeper for my big projects. But for the most part, all my projects are paper copies. And so I just manually count my stitches. When I get done with a section, I highlight what I finished and then I just manually count it. Yes, it takes time, but you know what? If you're done stitching and you just take time to do that, what's 5 minutes going to be? A lot of people say, oh, I don't have time to count this and that. Well, there's nothing, you do what works for you. I started really counting stitches back in September. And I like to note, especially some of these groups were like Whip Warriors, you have to stitch at least 1,500 stitches a month to stay active. Well, if I'm not counting stitches, how do I know that I'm keeping up with the group? So it's just a way for me to keep track. I'll have stats. I'll know how many stitches I did that month and just kind of know where I fit in some of these groups. Because if a group requires you to stitch 5,000 stitches a month, I may not be able to make it, So that's what I do. So that's my planner. I always look for other ways to kind of just do things. I think I spent quite a bit of time planning. I like the planning process and things like that. I think I spend too much time planning, not gonna lie. I should be stitching more than planning or talking or, but but it works for me. It's something I enjoy doing. As far as groups, so as most of you know, I am part of Crafts and Books. And so she will have acrostics every month. She started doing this back in November. So I participate in those. And when I do my sheets, now this month, like I said, I haven't done a whole lot of stitching. I did start the long dog sampler, so I was able to mark that off that I finished. I did 292 stitches. The goal is to do 200 stitches per letter, okay? And you just kind of figure out how to put your whips into the letters. So this is something that I created. This was not provided to us by them. It's just something that I do. I started doing this with monthly magazine challenge, and so I kind of incorporated that into the other acrostics. So there's my Crafts and Books acrostics. And then I am part of Magazine Monthly Challenge. And there's my chart. As you can see, I don't have anything on there. They do a theme. and then an acrostics. And it is a magazine monthly challenge, but the nice thing about it is you don't have to stitch from magazine. Some people will stitch the theme out of a magazine and then the rest will be whips. I have magazines, I do have a subscription, but I have not started a lot of magazine pieces. So I just use my regular whips for now. So there's my magazine monthly chart. And then I'm also part of the 24-hour Hawks challenge. So I participate on that. So there's my sheet for that. And then I've got my Whip Goat sheet, which the two calls were 9 and 22, which in my border's there. So I'm supposed to stitch something from Annabella. So my Whip Goat board is a designer focus. So I put in the pictures of designers' logos pretty much. So there's Annabella's, Hands on the Sign, just whatever charts I have by designers, I put those on here. And so when the whip goat is called, what I will do is I can pick a chart to work on for that designer. So instead of putting on here, well, I'm going to work on, summertime. If that gets called on a month and I don't want to work on that, I'm not limiting myself to just stitching on that. Yes, it's my board. I can change it at any time, but I thought this was a better choice for me because if this number gets called, then I can pick any of the Fat Quarter Shop projects that I have. Now, I'm not going to stitch. My goal is to stitch 500 stitches on each designer, but I'm going to do that on one project. So when that number gets called, I pick one project from that designer and I put 500 stitches on it and I'm done. So I'm not going to put multiple stitches on different projects. It's one project, but I have the option to pick whatever I want for that designer for that month. So working on that, gonna see. I haven't started my whip go for this month yet. Like I said, I've been working on the petites. So I have the monthly magazine. Soulful Stitcher, she does year whips. And just yesterday, I posted the charts that I am going to use for the year whips. I didn't print them off. I'm sorry about that. So maybe I'll show it next time. But she does the year whips where you select a minimum of 8 charts that you're going to work on this year. But the goal is to finish half of those. So you have to finish 4. I selected 10 charts. Last year when I did this, I did not do very good at finishing some of the stuff on my challenge on my board. So why did I add 10? Well, because some of the ones that I'm using this year were on last year and there's progress on them so that I think I can get them done if I focus on them. And my plan is to use those projects, those whips into these acrostics and these monthly challenges. So if I can do that, then I will get them done. So I selected 10. And I'll share that next time. I didn't print off the sheet that I created. I am part of Whip Warriors. Now, I was in the road trip challenge. And after about week 1, maybe going into week 2, I realized that the road trip was just too much for me. It was very overwhelming, and so I dropped out of road trip. I did not want to spend the year just focusing on getting all these stitches done for road trip. It was very strict, and you have to do things by a certain time, and I just could not keep up with that. But I am still part of Whip Warriors, and so I'll participate in categories and any other challenges that they have throughout the months. Right now, I do have some categories picked out, but I will participate in that. And I'll participate, as long as I can stitch, I can put in 1,500 stitches for the month. I'm part of the group. So I wanted to do that this year. I wanted to join Whip Warriors and kind of just stay in there and participate. I'm in the Harry Potter Facebook group. Really, that's all just a counting group. You just count. You're in a Harry Potter house. You count and keep track of that. I haven't done very good the last month or so, but I need to get back to that. I will participate in Sherry's cross stitch camp. She actually has a winter camp starting February 1st. I don't know that I'll participate, but if you're interested in that, you can watch Sherry, the Colorado Stitcher. She has a FlossTube channel and she goes over that information. And if you want to know, I mean, I am not going to tag, or I'm not going to put links in my bottom on my info box below. If you want any information on any of this things that I speak about, just email me, comment below, or email me. You can email me at joannetheeclecticstitcher@gmail.com. So anything that I talk about, comment below, email me. But I'm not going to link these groups into my box below. Um, but you can search them or let me know. But I'll participate in her cross stitch camp in the summer, which will be June, July, and August. I always participate in those. Leap year new start. So this year, I've heard other people talk about a leap year new start. And so I'm gonna do that this year, and I didn't know what to use for that. I didn't want anything huge, but Dee Dee's crafting and reading Facebook group. She is doing a USA Quaker flag stitch along. And so one of the flags, of course, is a USA flag. And so I was looking at this and I thought, oh, this is a really neat um, Quaker flag. And I'm looking at this thing, I said, well, there's boxes. I mean, there's sections there. So I can really use this. And then one of the girls on the Crafts and Books group says, oh, well, you can use that for your leap year start. So that's what I'm going to do. This is going to be my leap year start. Now, the crafting group, Dee Dee's group, is going to start the stitch along on January 26th. Now, I have messaged her on Facebook and said, listen, I want to participate in the stitch along. However, this is going to be my leap year start. Is it okay that I started on leap year day so that I can have that for that? And the idea of leap year is to start it the 29th of this year, which is leap year, and finish it by the next leap year. So I have 4 years to finish this, and I'll break it down. There's 50 squares plus the borders, the square borders. So I'm gonna have to do about 1 or 2 blocks a month. And I think that's manageable. Those blocks are not very big. I mean, I think there may be maybe 50 or 60 stitches, so they're not big. I think I can do that. I think I did good at picking something that's not, it's big, but it's not small. The squares are small. This is a 250 wide by 210 high. So it's a big piece, but if you break it down into just doing the little boxes, I think it'll work out just great. So that's going to be my leap year start, and it's also going to be part of the SAL with Dee Dee's Quilting. The only thing she did ask is that, I hashtag it to their SAL that started on the 26th, which I'm good with that, Superb Owl Retreat. If you follow Lindy Stitches or Hands on Design, Lindy Stitches is doing a Superb Owl Retreat. It's a 1-day event on February 11th, which is Super Bowl Sunday. And so Stephanie and Kathy have partnered together. Stephanie is from Lindy Stitches, Kathy is Hands on Designs, and it's going to be the same format as the Jingle Ball. They're going to use the same site. They're going to have, the stitchy rooms. They're going to have these whip speed dating. And the nice thing about it is they're going to have, a couple designs that are just exclusive to through this retreat. It does cost a little bit more money. But if you don't, I mean, I like to watch the Super Bowl. I like to watch football. So I will be watching and stitching at the same time. They created this, people that don't like to watch football and they wanted something to do. I think that was the intention of that. So I'll be participating. I haven't bought my ticket yet, but there's still time. They'll allow you to buy tickets until the day of. So just gonna kind of wait until we get closer, because if I find if as we get closer to that weekend, if anything changes in my life, or if my family decides they want to do like a Super Bowl party, which we always do, but it's very informal, I just don't want to commit to that until we get closer to that day. I also signed up for Lindy Stitches Endangered Species Club. She presented this at the not Super Bowl, Jingle Ball. And so when she showed her first design, which is a leopard, I just thought, I want to do this. I want to try it, just something different. Um, So I'm in her endangered species club. I did sign up for the club where you get the chart and you get 4 hand dyed flosses. So I think it uses a combination of hand dyes and DMC. So they will provide 4 of the hand dyed the flosses. Now, something else that I've been thinking about with my planning is Christmas stitching. I am not a seasonal stitcher. If you've been watching me up until this point, I am not a seasonal stitcher. I don't stitch specific, yes, I am stitching some Halloween that I started with Crafts and Books for Witchy Wednesday, and I'll continue to do that with these pieces that I have. But when I joined Jingle Ball, there was a lot of nice Christmas pieces there. And I bought a few charts. And so I'm thinking that maybe I need to start stitching Christmas. And so there's 2 options that I'm thinking about. A lot of times people will stitch Christmas on the 25th, just like they do, you have some people that'll stitch Halloween on the 13th of each month, or the 13th and the 31st of each month. They'll do Halloween on the 25th, or Christmas on the 25th. So Annabella's, not last year, but the year before, she started a Christmas stitching week. And her thing is the 3rd week of each month, you put everything else aside and you stitch nothing but Christmas that week. So for 7 days, the 3rd week of the month, you stitch nothing but Christmas. And I thought that was a good idea. She started it the year before, I think in 2022. I don't know that she did very good about doing it in 2023, but in her latest video, she did mention that she was going to start that again this year and hopefully be able to keep up with it. Do I want to take a whole week and stitch Christmas? That I don't know. So that's kind of up in the air. It's either going to be the 3rd week I'll do that, or just the 25th. And maybe the 25th I'll just stitch on something Christmas. But if I want to get Christmassy stuff done, because I do have quite a bit of Christmas charts, I may have to do more than just the 25th. So we'll see. This week, or this month, the week the week of the 25th for this month, I'm not going to stitch the whole week for Christmas, because that is the week that I'm going to use to catch up on all these challenges that I haven't been able to do. So we'll see. I'll play it by ear. Um, and so that's pretty much as far as plans. I'm looking here at my notes. I am part of different Zoom groups. Like I said, I do Crafts and Books. Shalene's Creativity Room has a Zoom group. Stitching with Sandy. Dana, who is Day by Day with Dana, she does a Zoom group. And then, of course, Garon does a Zoom on Sundays. So if you want any information, if you want to connect with me and other stitchers and some of these wonderful ladies that enable me and encourage me and keep us, stitching, let me know. Reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to share any information. Like I said, I'm not going to put any of this information on the box below. Reach out to me. And so that's it. Really, I just want to get my whips down. My goal this year, what I really want to do is any whips that I have from 2021, in 2022, I really want to get those done. So I'm going to try to work on that as much as I can. And who knows? I mean, every month is a different month. These groups that I'm in, sometimes they'll add events here and there, just pop-up events. And so sometimes things change and we have to be flexible with each other. I am flexible with myself. Um, I just stitch whatever, you know. I really do. I stitch on whatever I like to do. If I don't want to work on something, I don't work on something. I use the random wheel generator to help me pick whips, a whip for the day. And sometimes I have to spin it 2 or 3 times because I don't want to stitch what it picks. So be flexible with yourself. And because stitching is supposed to be fun, it's not supposed to be a job. Like I said, once I feel like a group is turning stitching into a full-time job, it's time to part. So I've done that, and I'm okay with that. And I'm sure that there'll be groups that'll come along the year that I'll join, and I'm okay with that. So that is all I have for you today. If you've held on to the end, thank you for being here. We're at 56 minutes. Um, Thank you for watching. Continue doing what you love. Thank you again, and I will hopefully see you in a couple weeks. Bye.